I'm Ruth White, 34 years old. I live with my husband David and our 5-year-old daughter Amy. We both work, so our days are busy, but still happy. David is 35. He's calm, kind, and absolutely adores Amy. We've been married for 7 years, and his sincere family-oriented nature hasn't changed. Amy is growing up fast and is full of energy every day. She has lots of friends. Amy, how was kindergarten today? Good. I drew today. I drew Mommy and Daddy. My teacher said it was really good.
Wow, that's amazing. Show it to me later, okay?
Okay. These simple conversations were my greatest happiness. Even coming home tired from work, just seeing her smile made the day's fatigue vanish. But within this peaceful life, there was one unavoidable problem. That was my mother-in-law, Susan White, 65 years old. She's always been strong-willed, the type who firmly believes her own values are the only correct ones.
Mom's words can be a bit harsh, but she doesn't mean any harm.
Even when her comments bothered me, David often dismissed them like this, but I couldn't see it that way at all. From the beginning of our marriage, her attitude felt somewhat cold. On the surface, she'd smile and say, "Welcome to the family." But there was always a barb hidden in her words. Oh dear, David must have it tough. So busy with work and having to do housework too. No, I try to share the chores as much as possible. Even so, housework is really a woman's job, isn't it? In my day, we never even thought about juggling work and chores. People these days have it hard. How many times had I heard those words? I liked working and David supported my career, but she seemed incapable of understanding that mindset. Furthermore, after Amy was born, her interference increased. Really, it would be better if I looked after Amy. Can you really trust those modern daycare centers? The teachers are very competent and Amy enjoys going. But isn't it best for a mother to be right there? Everyone used to do it that way. I swallowed my words. She constantly imposed her values like this. David would try to mediate, but maybe because he couldn't speak strongly to his mother, he was somewhat ineffective.
Mom's just worried, that's all. Don't worry about it so much.
When he said that, I couldn't argue further. For the 5 years since Amy was born, I had endured Susan's hurtful words. But an event was about to occur that made me feel I couldn't let things continue this way. Susan holds old-fashioned beliefs. She strongly believes a daughter-in-law should naturally devote herself to the family home and frequently meddled in my affairs. From the start of our marriage, my mother-in-law was strict with me. For example, early in our marriage, I was making dinner for David when she casually peered in. "Oh, what are you making?" "Beef stew." Well, that's nice. But shouldn't you make the flavor a bit stronger? He likes things with a good, strong taste. I had asked him about his preferences before we married and made this many times. Yet, she'd interjected as if dismissing my cooking.
Mom, this tastes great just the way it is.
Now, don't say that. A man feels less tired from work when he eats proper home cooking. Proper home cooking? Was she trying to say my cooking was not good enough? This kind of exchange happened more than once or twice. Housework, too. A woman needs to be the main one doing it. Having a man help out? Unthinkable in the past. Many families have both parents working now, so sharing chores is common. But really, it's most stable when the man works outside and the woman supports the home. I always did it that way. No matter how many times we talked, her thinking never changed. After Amy was born, my relationship with her worsened further. Grandchildren really need a grandmother to raise them properly. It's not just the parents. Grandparent influence is huge. Of course, we appreciate having grandparents love her. Then why don't you let me look after her more? I can watch her much better than daycare. Every time this topic came up, I felt troubled.
Mom, Amy is having fun at daycare and the teachers treat her well. There's nothing wrong with how we're raising her.
But you never know what they teach at these modern daycares. And there could be trouble between the kids, right? Isn't it safer to raise her at home? True, daycare has many kids and troubles might occur, but that's how they learn social skills. More than anything, I wanted to continue working. I intended to give everything to raise Amy while working for our family. Yet Susan seemed completely unwilling to understand that feeling. Nowadays, it's normal for mothers to work while raising children. I want to do my best for Amy too. But children feel lonely when their mother isn't around. You can always get a job later. She spoke as if a working mother was inherently bad. David was exhausted by the situation too. Mom, we'll do things our way. Please stop interfering so much. What? I'm just worried. Despite saying that, her meddling continued, and her actions gradually escalated. Amy's birthday was approaching, a special milestone. She was turning 5. I planned to celebrate quietly at home this year. I wanted to prepare her favorite cake and food and just have a fun time as a family of 3. She was already looking forward to it, picking out her favorite dress and talking about what kind of cake she wanted. Mommy, for my birthday cake, I want lots of strawberries. Of course, sweetheart. I know you love strawberries. Let's get a special cake this year. I'm looking forward to it too. Looks like I can get off work early for once. Should be able to make time to play with her. Just as we were talking about this, Susan called. Ruth, I need to talk to you about Amy's birthday. Yes, what is it? Let's celebrate at our house this year. We'll invite relatives and have a proper celebration. I was surprised by the sudden proposal. Oh, but we were planning to celebrate at our place. My place is bigger than yours, and we can have a proper party. Amy will have more fun being celebrated by lots of people. But she's looking forward to celebrating at home with us. What are you talking about? It's my precious grandchild's birthday. Everyone should celebrate together. Her tone was clearly pushy. Well, but... Just then, David spoke up from beside me. Mom, you can't just spring this on us. We were planning to do it at home this year, and she's looking forward to it. That's exactly why we should do it at my place. I'll get a big cake, order some pizza. We'll have the best celebration for Amy. A big birthday bash with all the relatives is definitely better. This clearly wasn't for Amy. Susan just wanted to throw the party so she could feel good about it. Besides, if we do it here, I can look after her, and it'll be easy for you too, Ruth. I'd heard similar things countless times. I'll look after her, as if I were an unreliable mother. However, Amy, listening beside me, seemed interested in her grandmother's proposal. Are we celebrating at Grandma's house? Well... Will I eat cake with Grandma? That's right, Amy. Grandma will get a big cake and order lots of food for you, dear. It'll be fun celebrating with everyone. Yay, fun! Seeing her innocent joy, I almost sighed. True, celebrating with many people, including other children, might be more fun. But I knew Susan's offer this time wasn't about Amy's feelings, just her own vanity. Still, seeing her looking forward to it, I couldn't strongly object. David glanced at me, then sighed softly. Mom's being selfish again. After muttering that under his breath, he turned back to his mother. Mom, since Amy's looking forward to it, just this once is okay. But if you say anything out of line, we're leaving immediately. Yes, don't worry. Ruth, it's Amy's special day. You should enjoy it too. Hearing those words, I had a bad feeling. And so it was decided. Amy's birthday would be celebrated at my in-laws' house. On her birthday, as we drove to my in-laws, anxiety swirled within me. David, in the driver's seat, glanced over. It'll be fine, I'm here. If anything happens, we'll leave right away. Despite his words, his expression seemed somewhat tense. What kind of cake will we eat at Grandma's? I'm not sure. Hopefully it's the strawberry cake you like. Yay, I'll eat lots. She laughed innocently from the back seat. Seeing my daughter like this, the anxiety in my heart didn't disappear. At every dinner or gathering at the in-laws, Susan's often made snide remarks in front of relatives. Ruth, are you a good cook? I heard David always eats store-bought meals. It's common for both parents to work these days, but when the kids are small, it's best for the mother to be nearby. Comments like this hurt me repeatedly. Still, David did his best to step in and support me. Then he continued to say even this. If Mom pulls something, that'll be the final straw. I'm prepared to cut ties. I gasped at his words. He sometimes spoke ill of his mother, but he never completely pushed her away. He often tried to smooth things over, saying, Mom doesn't mean any harm. But perhaps seeing me hurt by her words over time, something was decisively changing in his heart. Are you sure? Yeah, I've put up with it for too long. David, what do you want to do? I don't want Mom using Amy's birthday for herself, right? We're celebrating for Amy. We should do what truly makes Amy happy. Hearing those words, the unease in my heart eased slightly. If Mom acts selfishly again, I won't hold back anymore. Okay. If he was this resolved, maybe today would bring a big change. Daddy, are we almost at Grandma's? Almost there, sweetie. My daughter's innocent voice made David and me exchange glances and smile slightly. No one yet knew this birthday would be a major turning point. The car stopped in front of the in-laws' house and David turned off the engine. I took a breath and lightly clenched my fists. This tension I feel every time I go to my mother-in-law's place. I've felt it ever since getting married. Amy in the back seat innocently gazed out the window. Wow, Grandma's house is big! True, her house is impressive, but that seems to just inflate her pride even more. Okay, let's go. We got out of the car and rang the doorbell. After a moment, the door opened. Well, long journey. Welcome. She grinned, but her eyes held no warmth. Rather, they seemed to say, it's about time you arrived. Mom, it's Amy's birthday today, so please be nice. I know. Come on in. Urged inside, we found several relatives already gathered. My father-in-law, George, Susan's sister, and her husband, even distant relatives were there. I was momentarily surprised. This wasn't what we agreed to. Come on, everyone, let's celebrate. Oh, did you bring something? Yeah, we brought a cake and pizza for Amy. Oh my, you brought such wonderful things. She peered into the cake box and nodded with satisfaction. Well then, we'll gratefully accept these. Come on, everyone, let's eat. She opened the cake box and picked up a knife. We have to celebrate. Saying this, she started to cut the cake before singing happy birthday. Mom, wait a minute. What is it, David? It's a celebration. Shouldn't we share? But we haven't even sung the song. Oh, hush. The relatives are gathered today. The adults should get to enjoy themselves first. She sliced the cake and quickly started dividing it. Oh, this looks amazing, Susan. You really know how to host. Yes, of course. Because I prepared everything myself. What? Mom, that's not true. What? We brought those. Oh, don't sweat the small stuff. It's a birthday. Let's all enjoy. Come on, everyone. Don't be shy. Eat up. Instantly, the relatives reached out without hesitation. Delicious. You have great taste, Susan. Where is this from? You can't get this just anywhere. Only the best for Amy. Mommy? Amy whispered softly, but none of the adults noticed. Oh, David, have some. No thanks. The birthday party atmosphere was heavy. With relatives gathered and Susan acting like the star of the show, I could only sit at the edge of the room. Ruth, are you just going to sit there? Hand out the plates. Yes. At her emotionless command, the surrounding relatives chuckled away. Like a little helper. Well, she's the daughter-in-law, so it's expected, right? Silently handing out plates, I clenched my fists mentally. I came here for Amy's birthday. Why am I being treated like a maid? I was trying to endure it, but then Susan announced loudly, Amy! Amy, Grandma got you lots of presents too. I picked them all out. Mommy and Daddy have no taste for these things. Amy beamed innocently, but the words stung me. David tried to interject. Mommy and I picked them out together, but Susan cut him off. David, leave these things to the adults. Ruth, you were probably too busy to buy anything decent anyway, am I right? Working mothers tend to be like that. True, daughters-in-law these days don't do anything around the house. Well, Ruth enjoys working, puts work before her child. That's not true. Ruth, maybe just for today, try acting like a good mother. Excuse me? David tried to say something, but his mother stopped him with a laugh. Now, David, stay quiet. Men don't understand these things. Everyone, really, my daughter-in-law is better than some. But still, watching her makes me a little anxious. Poor Amy. Susan and the relatives laughed while criticizing me to my face. All right, let's take a picture. Everyone gather around. Oh, Ruth, not there. Can you take the picture? Yes. David silently stood up and gently placed a hand on my shoulder. Without words, his eyes conveyed, "That's enough." I nodded quietly, pushing down the anger and sadness in my heart. On this day, I understood clearly. I was no longer needed in this house. And this was also the beginning of the major turnaround to come. At that moment, Susan clapped her hands lightly. All right, now that everyone's here, let's celebrate with just the family. Yes, Ruth, David, thank you for coming today, but we're fine now. Mom, what does that mean? Exactly what it sounds like. We're celebrating as a family now, so you two can leave. She walked towards the entrance and opened the door. Fine, let's go, Ruth, Amy. But it's okay. Voice tight with quiet anger, David took Amy's hand and headed for the car. Oh, don't be so angry. We'll celebrate properly. Amy, I'll send you the pictures later. What about my cake? All right, bye-bye now. Kicked out by my mother-in-law, the front door shut coldly behind us. As we were about to get into the car, David stopped and turned around. What the? His low, anger-filled voice seemed to reach through the door. Susan opened the door again, frowning. What is it, David? Don't be so angry. Why did you kick us out? I wanted to celebrate with family. Maybe you aren't family anymore. That last remark made him snap. Mom, do you realize what you just said? Why are you getting so worked up? Getting angry over nothing. It's not very manly. His expression visibly changed at her defiant attitude. That's it, he said coldly, turning his back to the door. What's with that attitude? Acting like you're cutting ties or something. Cutting ties? Yeah, that sounds about right. Mom, I've put up with a lot, but today made it clear. Our family doesn't need you anymore. Hey, what kind of way is that to talk? Susan, we won't hold back anymore. What's with that ominous tone? I didn't reply, just stared quietly at her. Perhaps she saw determination in my expression, as a flicker of anxiety crossed her face. But she quickly masked it, sneering as usual. You'll just come crawling back asking for something soon anyway. No, we're never coming back. With those parting words, we got into the car. Daddy? Amy called out in a small voice from the back seat. We're going home. As he started the engine, Susan stood on the doorstep until the end, arms crossed, glaring at us. But we never looked back again. This is it. Yeah, it's really over now. In that moment, we broke ties with Susan. After being kicked out of the in-laws' house, we drove in silence. Amy sat quietly in the back seat, head down, tightly gripping the hem of her skirt with small hands. Seeing my usually bright and energetic daughter looking so downcast was a first. Amy, let's celebrate at home today. Mommy will buy a new cake and we'll celebrate together. Okay. Even so, her voice was subdued. David said nothing, just kept driving silently. For Susan, Amy's birthday was an event to get attention. She used us for that purpose, and in the end, kicked us out. Mulling over that fact again, anger surged within me. When we arrived home, we went straight to the living room. David sat down silently on the sofa. "I've had enough," he muttered lowly after a long silence. "It's over with Mom." His fists were clenched tightly. After being treated like that, how can she expect me to still think of her as family? I'm cutting ties with her. Susan had repeatedly made insensitive remarks and hurt me. But this time, it was clearly so bad that repair seemed impossible. What does she think Amy's birthday is? That was just Mom's vanity. I agree. I too finally resolved myself. Let's stop the allowance and all financial help. Yeah, he nodded quietly. David had been sending her a fixed amount of money each month. She didn't work. She lived off my father-in-law's pension and David's allowance. But after this incident, David seemed completely resolved. Not sending another cent. Are you sure? Absolutely. After how she treated us, there's no obligation to help her. You're right. Stealing things prepared for Amy, kicking us out, and finally dismissing us as not family. There was no reason to do anything more for such a person. That night, David messaged his mother. No more allowance. Stay out of our lives. There was no reply from her. But this decision became the first step in an even bigger counterattack. The next morning, David woke up early as usual. Last night's events replayed in his mind and he couldn't sleep. I was quietly making coffee in the kitchen. Morning. Morning. Sleep well? Nah, barely slept. He sighed and sat on the sofa. Still thinking about yesterday? Of course. When I remember what Mom did, I can't stop being angry. I know, but we decided not to engage with her anymore. Yeah, you're right. Saying that, he picked up his phone. Something occurred to him, and he decided to check the deed for the family home. He remembered his deceased father had organized his estate. There should be some documents. Ah, found it. Displayed on the screen under the owner section was the name David White. Huh? What is this? That house. It's in my name. What? He looked at the screen again and again. No mistake. The owner of the land and building of the in-laws' house was David. What does that mean? I remember hearing Grandpa organize his estate before he passed. I thought it was a long shot, but I never imagined it was really in my name. So that house is yours, David? Looks like it. Silence followed for a moment. The place we had always thought of as Susan's house was actually David's. He gripped his phone, taking a deep breath. Well then, no need to hold back anymore. Right? So let's get rid of it. He looked at me, surprised. It's a house that has nothing to do with us anymore, right? I said this calmly, though smiling inwardly. Susan always thought that house was hers, but it wasn't. So we can do whatever we want with it. Yeah, we won't hold back with her anymore. As he muttered those words, he felt something break free within him. The day after confirming the in-laws' house was in David's name, we sat facing each other at the living room table. Okay, so what do we do? Should we sell it or demolish it? The decision to dispose of the house was firm, but choosing the optimal method required careful judgment. Let's consult a real estate agent first. Good idea. He immediately contacted a local real estate agency. Hello, this is David White. I'm thinking about selling a house I own. Mr. White, thank you for calling. You're thinking about selling your property? Could you please provide the address? Yes, it's... Let me check. Is anyone currently residing there? Yes, my mother lives there. I see. Before selling, we'll need to proceed with eviction procedures. Yes, I'd like to consult about those procedures as well. Understood. Are you considering selling it as is or demolishing it first? I'd like advice on that too. I want to move forward as quickly as possible. Got it. First, we'll appraise the property. Then we can suggest specific selling strategies.
Thank you. Please do that.
After hanging up, David turned to me.
We'll get an appraisal and discuss whether selling or demolishing is better.
Okay, so now we just proceed with the steps. For a second, he seemed hesitant. David?
No, I'm not hesitating. Just wondering how she will react.
It was easy to imagine how she would react upon learning this fact. We nodded quietly to each other and began preparations to dispose of the in-laws' house. A few days after starting the sales and demolition procedures, David received a call from the real estate agent. Mr. White, regarding the matter you requested, we have sent the formal eviction notice to your mother, the current resident.
Thank you. When will the notice arrive?
It was mailed today, so it should arrive tomorrow at the latest.
Great. Thank you.
He hung up and let out a quiet breath.
No turning back now.
And the next day, "What is this? He's kicking me out?" Susan yelled, face flushed red, as soon as she opened the envelope from the mailbox. Thinking it must be a mistake, she reread the document multiple times. But it clearly stated, by order of the owner, vacate by the specific date. Current owner? David? The reality that this house, which she always thought was hers, actually belonged to her son, didn't register in her mind. Wait, this has got to be a mistake. Frantically grabbing her phone, she dialed David's number. Huh? The phone rang once, then mercilessly disconnected. Hey, why isn't he answering? She immediately redialed, but it disconnected the same way. What the heck, David? Just then, her husband George walked slowly from the back of the house.
What's all the noise?
Look at this! An eviction notice came from David! What is that boy thinking? He quietly took the notice and read it carefully. Then he sighed deeply.
So, he's finally had enough.
What are you talking about? This is our house! Why do we have to leave?
No, Susan. This house isn't ours. It's in David's name.
That's impossible! I've lived here forever! Why would David be the owner?
My father changed the deed to David before he passed away. Didn't you know?
No! Face red, trembling, she clutched the notice. Is David trying to kick out his own mother? She grabbed her phone again and opened her messaging app. There, she finally noticed the message David had sent. No more allowance. Stay out of our lives. Ah! Her furious shouts echoed through the house, but her anger reached no one. Several days passed after the formal eviction notice arrived. George looked quietly at the notice and sighed.
Susan, enough already. This is decided.
What are you saying? This is our house. They can't just kick us out?
Susan, you need to understand the situation.
Understand what?
This house was originally left to David by his grandfather. We were just allowed to live here. The owner is David.
Angrily, Susan opened the messaging app. She noticed another message from David.
Remember what you did, Mom.
Remember what I did? What did I do? Suddenly, a feeling like her heart was being squeezed hit her. She desperately searched her memory. Amy's birthday, taking the pizza and cake, acting like she prepared them. Kicking out David, Ruth, and Amy, dismissing them, saying, "This is my house." Her face turned pale. No, that can't be it. That was for the families. Susan knew it was for her own vanity and need for control. Because she wanted to manage everything, run things her way, she looked down on me, David, and Amy. And the result was the eviction notice. No, I can't accept this. She desperately tried to justify herself, but it was too late. From the day the eviction notice arrived, an eerie tension filled the house. She tried calling David repeatedly, but never got through. Why won't he answer? I can't accept this. George, ignoring her commotion, quietly packed his bags. Hey, what are you doing?
Exactly what it looks like. Packing.
Why?
I'm leaving.
What are you saying? This is our house. Why are you leaving? He silently continued packing his suitcase. Hey, say something! At that moment, he slammed the suitcase shut with a bang and sighed heavily.
Susan, Because of you, we're losing our home. I watched it all. How you treated David and his family.
What?
Amy's birthday. It should have been about celebrating our grandchild, but all you cared about was being in charge.
Well,
You even took the food they brought. And to top it off by saying, we'll celebrate as family now, you can leave? How could you say such a thing?
because it's my house. I decide who comes.
Wrong. His low, sharp voice cut through the air. This house wasn't yours. David is the owner. You acted selfishly, looked down on them, kicked them out, and as a result, you lost everything.
No.
Because of you, I'm losing my home too.
Wait, I didn't do anything wrong. David suddenly did this.
It wasn't sudden. This is the result of everything you've piled up.
Oh, honey.
I can't stay with you anymore. We're getting a divorce.
What?
Her face instantly turned deathly pale.
You're joking.
Do I look like I'm joking? I can't deal with you anymore.
Wait, I'm your wife. Spouses support each other.
Support each other? Have you ever supported me?
Well,
I'm done with you. Do whatever you want. He said this, then turned towards the entrance, dragging his suitcase.
wait, please don't go.
She desperately tried to grab his arm, but he shook her off. Live a new life.
Stop, don't abandon me.
But he never looked back, opened the front door, and walked out. As the door closed, she collapsed.
No, this isn't happening.
Susan lost everything. House, husband, even family bonds. But this was the consequence she herself had brought about. A few weeks later, the in-laws' house where Susan had lived was completely leveled. Heavy machinery moved in, and she watched from afar, stunned, as the house she lived in for years was mercilessly torn down.
No, I can't believe it.
This was the place she controlled, where she raised her son, invited relatives, where she was the center of everything. Now, it was just dirt.
Why? Why did this happen?
As she stood there crying, a construction worker glanced at her. Ma'am, it's dangerous. Please move away from the area. She could only stare at the completely flattened land. David really did destroy everything. He showed absolutely no mercy, cutting her off completely. With trembling hands, she took out her phone, trying to contact David again. The number you have dialed is not in service. David had completely blocked her. It didn't end there. Relatives and friends Susan had relied on also turned cold.
Hey, help me, just for a little while. Let me stay.
Sorry, Susan.
But we're family.
Susan, you were awful to David and his family.
But I was trying to keep the family together.
Keep it together? That's called controlling. Everywhere she went, no one would help her. She was completely abandoned. A few days later, carrying her belongings, she moved into a rundown apartment. It was small, dilapidated, an environment incomparable to her previous life.
This is just too much.
Susan lost her house, husband, son, grandchild, and ties. The woman who once boasted, "I keep this family together," now lived alone and lonely, unable to rely on anyone. Having cut ties with my mother-in-law and finished disposing of the house, our family started a new life. We bought a new house and made a fresh start towards a new future. Meanwhile, George visited Susan for a final discussion.
What do you want?
She glared at him standing at the doorway, her voice low. We need to talk, to formally proceed with the divorce.
You really want to get a divorce?
I've already decided. I can't be with you anymore. I've put up with it countless times. I saw how you treated David and Ruth. I don't know how you'll live from now on, but it's none of my concern anymore.
Hey.
Goodbye. With those parting words, he left the room without looking back. Susan collapsed where she stood, able to only stare blankly into space. Meanwhile, around that time, we were having Amy's birthday party at our newly purchased home. We can finally relax. Yeah, it was long, but it's really over now. For the first time in a long while,
I felt truly relaxed and at peace, and today was Amy's birthday. Last year, the party was ruined by Susan, but this year was different. David and I prepared a grand party just for her. On the table was a birthday cake loaded with her favorite strawberries and everything else Amy wanted to eat but couldn't that day. Wow, Mommy, Daddy! Seeing her smile, I felt genuine relief. In front of the cake lit with candles, David spoke gently.
Amy, make a wish.
Okay. She closed her eyes, thought for a moment, then beamed. I hope Mommy, Daddy, and I can always live happily together. Hearing those words, tears welled up in my eyes. She jumped into my arms, hugging me tightly. I gently hugged her back. Past burdens, harassment from my mother-in-law, it was all finally over. With David and Amy, envisioning our new happy future ahead, I smiled wholeheartedly.